problem that these Porsches always have when they sit for a while. The fuel pump's not running and there's no fuel up to the injection unit. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I apologise for the noise and the wobbly camera, but we're in the van today with the trailer on the back. So some bloke contacted me a couple days ago saying he's got this old Porsche 924 that's been sitting for many years in his shed, and he was going to restore it, but he never got around to it, and he asked if I want to buy it and put it on the channel, and I said, well, yes, definitely. And made him an offer. Actually, I think this came up a few years ago, and I made him an offer a few years ago, or the price just wasn't there. But he's come back to me, and I said, I'll give you £500 for it. He went away and thought about it, and he said yes. So we're on our way to go and pick it up right now. I can't remember what year it is, but it's a red 924. It's got turbo wheels on it and a turbo spoiler, but I think it's in pretty rough shape. I've only really seen one picture of it, but it's got the seats that I like in it. Yeah, it's a few different colours, so let's see what it's like. Alright, so just got back with the car. It looks okay. I'll give you a couple shots around it, but it's definitely going to need a bit of work. So this is a 1984 or 1985 Porsche 924, pretty bog standard 924 from the era, but it's got the turbo wheels on it. It's also got the turbo spoiler on it, and it has the Porsche sort of bucket seat things, which I really like these seats. My first ever 944 had these seats, and they're really comfy. But yeah, it's in a bit of a sorry state. It's rust-wise, there is virtually no rust on this car, apart from this bit of surface rust on this wing, and a little bit where someone has jacked it up in the wrong place, and that has caused a tiny bit of rust there. Apart from that, it's completely solid underneath. There's no rust holes at all. The paintwork is extremely sun damaged, and so is the interior. This car's obviously been sitting outside in the baking hot sun for a long time, unfortunately, and not in a garage. So when I picked it up, the guy said that he thinks it's got an immobilizer issue, which is stopping it from starting. These usually don't really have immobilizers on them. Some people did fit them, but they've usually always been bypassed by this point. But anyway, I got underneath it and found out there was no starter motor in the car. So I'm not sure if he just forgot there wasn't a starter motor in it, but that's obviously a big problem. So yesterday, whilst I didn't have a camera or anything, I nipped up the road, managed to pick a brand new starter motor up for this for £35, which is absolutely amazing, off a Facebook Marketplace, and it was about an hour away from my house. So I managed to come back, I got it in. I'll show you what happens now. I put the starter motor in it. You can't see it, it's down here. It's honest, it's such a nightmare to get to. I couldn't really film it because it is right underneath the exhaust. But I've put the starter motor in it, and now when you turn it over, well, for a start, as you can see, it turns over, but I'm pretty sure this has got the all problem that these Porsches always have when they sit for a while. The fuel pump's not running, and there's no fuel up to the injection unit. So under the bonnet in these 924s, the standard ones, you've got a 4-cylinder 2-litre engine, and yes, everyone says it's an Audi or a Volkswagen or something, and it is. It's out of I think it's out of a Volkswagen van, but it's still pretty, I don't know, I think it's a bit of an iconic car of the era, and I think they're pretty cool and they should be saved, and people shouldn't hate on them so much. But anyway, these engines they're pretty reliable engines. The only things that really plague them are these fuel systems. So it's got this, it's called is it K-Jectronic or J-Jectronic something? This is K, I think, and it's a constant injection system, so it's under constant pressure, and when you rev the engine, a big diaphragm flaps down in there, which lets more fuel through to the injectors. These block up all the time in here, and there's a little like a cold start thing which also blocks up all the time, and it looks like someone's probably had a problem with it in the start, because there's a whole box here that says cold start and all that sort of stuff, and that looks pretty new, so it looks like someone's had an issue with that in the past. But I've been under the back, and it looks like there's a fairly new pump in there, so I'm going to get the multimeter out and test whether it's getting power. If it's not getting power, then there's a relay in the corner which I think you can just jump, and that'll send power to the pump. But what have we got in here then? I haven't really looked in here at all. This dashboard has, I know they're famous for cracking, but this one is extremely cracked. I actually owned one of these, I think it was on the channel actually, a year ago or so, maybe 2 years, year and a half ago, where the dashboard hadn't had a single crack in it, which I've never seen before, but you can get a cover for them. They look fairly good. Apparently we've got 63,000 miles on it. Not sure if that's true, but the seat looks in very good condition, so it could genuinely be. The steering wheel's fairly nice. A lot of sun damage. What have we got when we turn it on? Voltage, pressure. Wonder if it gains oil pressure when we turn it over. Doesn't look like it. That doesn't actually seem to be working at all, that dial. Electric windows. Oh, something's working. Oh, they're pretty slow, but they work. Horn, that works. We've got a fan. Well, that works, but it's pretty weak. What about the headlights actually? See if the headlights work. I don't know if you'll be able to see out there. Hey, look at that. Oh, I think one of them is out by the looks of things. Oh, they're a bit crunchy. But they work. What else we got? We've got a sunroof in this one. Oh my god. Look at that. Hang on. Ready? Sunroof works. Alright, let's try and figure out why the fuel system's not working in this car. If it does, hopefully we should be able to get this thing to start. But alright, let's test the power at the fuel pump. Alright, so I'm pretty sure I've got the multimeter wires on the pump, on the connections to the pump. Let's turn the ignition on to see. Alright, ignition's on, no voltage. What if I turn it over? See, it went up a tiny bit, the voltage went up a tiny bit, so it feels like there's a electrical problem somewhere. I'm going to take the relay out and I think if you jump the pins you can send 12 volts straight to the pump. So let's try that. Alright, so this is the relay that's just come out, the fuel pump relay. It looks fairly new, but I think if we jump pins 30 and 87, I think it's the ones that are opposite each other at different angles, if we jump those, when we turn the ignition on, then the fuel pump should run. So I'm just going to jam this bit of wire across those terminals for now. This probably isn't the safest thing to do, but let's see if that does anything. Where the keys gone? Why did I take the keys out? I think it's this big horrible one. Okay, nothing. Still nothing. Okay. Alright, this fuel pump seems to be cutting in and out, but I think it's working now. I can hear it there, I heard it just go. Let's see if it does anything. Oof. Oh, it's trying. Seems like it's not getting enough fuel somehow. I didn't really like the colour of that fuel or the smell of it, so I've sort of rigged this up. I'm hoping it works. So drain as much of the fuel as I can into this bucket. I don't know how much fuel's in it, but I really hope it's not a lot, because that's the biggest bucket I've got, and I'm going to have to start putting it somewhere. Yeah, we ran out of fuel. That's good. Alright, I'll let it go for a little bit longer. But yeah, that's just air coming out now. Thank God there isn't that much fuel in it. Alright, there's some fresh fuel in it. Just gonna pour a little bit into the cup just to make sure it's coming out alright. Alright, it's still coming out a bit brown, so just gonna flush it through again. It's probably what's left in the filter and stuff. Just keep flushing it through until it goes clear, I guess. It is running, and it is idling. There's some weird noises coming from down here, I think. I think that belt's too loose. Yeah. But it is running, and I think it will rev up. There's quite a lot of stuff on the exhaust by the looks of the smoke. Some really strange noises. Alright, so it runs. It doesn't run that great. I'm hoping that if I adjust the floppiness of this, and that's what's making the rattling noise and it's not the bottom end. I really hope so, so let's tighten that up. And the alternator's not charging. That could be just because of that as well, but we will measure the voltage around the back of it, sort that out. And the next thing, whilst I'm doing all this, I've got to jack this whole thing up, and we had no brakes just when we were getting this off the trailer, no brakes at all, and all the fluid seemed to be coming out somewhere around behind this wheel. So there's a leak behind that wheel somewhere, so I'm going to whip that off, try and sort the alternator situation out, and see if this runs a bit better, and then if we have brakes we can drive this thing about. Alright, so it's been a couple of hours and I've had a whole load of issues with this side. I haven't even looked at any of the other brakes yet, just all with this side. So the first thing was soft brake line wasn't attached, and it's about to snap anyway, so that needs replacing. I've put a different one in there for now just to try and see me through, just so I could drive this thing. It needs the proper one in there, just doesn't, the brackets don't line up very well. But it bolts up anyway. Bolted that up. Then put a bit of fluid in it. Then it was leaking out of this bit of pipe that was rusty and snapped. That was just back behind there. So I replaced that, just a section of pipe like that, just to see if that will get us by, so I can get pressure to the brakes. Then I got fluid up to the brakes, and fluid was just seeping out of them, and I assume that there's supposed to be an O-ring in that channel there, and that piston is just sitting in there. So obviously bought a rebuild kit for this, and I'm pretty sure he's forgotten to put the O-ring back in there. Alright, so I just ordered a caliper rebuild kit so we can put that rubber ring in the caliper, stop it from leaking. Also got a couple brake hoses, because the ones here are they're gone. They're about to explode. It could actually do with a new line, to be honest, from there back to the junction down there. But I think we'll be able to do it up for now, just see if it works. But yeah, let's whip this wheel off, get that caliper rebuild kit in. I'll probably do the same to the other side. I haven't checked the other side, but I imagine it's probably the same. If this thing actually can stop, then we can take it for a drive. I've also noticed, I know these are new tyres, left this for a couple of days whilst these things were on order, and that's gone down. And it's only been about 2 or 3 days, so gonna have to get that sorted. Alright, so I've sort of got a brake pedal. I've been bleeding the brakes for like almost an hour, and I've flushed through enough fluid, like more than 3 times the amount of fluid that should be in this car, and for some reason I still can't get a firm pedal. I think one of the calipers is probably leaking still, or the rear brakes are just so badly adjusted that you have to pump them up and then they won't come back. I'm sure they're self-adjusting in these cars, or maybe they're not, but so probably have to delve into that. But I pumped the pedal twice and there is a brake pedal. So I'm thinking if I can get this thing to run, it has been about 4 days since it last ran, and even then it didn't run great. If I can get this thing to run, I'm going to see if I can take it for its first ever drive. I have no idea how long this thing's been still for. I don't think it's driven for around 10 years, so this should be interesting. Running. Still haven't tightened that belt. Sure, it'll be fine. Oh my God. Idling a bit high. See if it moves. Have I got a clutch? Oh, I'm so far back I can't even reach the pedals. at all. It's got no pressure. I need to turn around and go back. Oh my god. It really starting to smell like burning in here too. I really can't stop. Alright, that'll have to do. There's some horrible noise coming from down here. Wow. Alright, let's check the brake fluid. Alright, I'm pretty surprised by that. This £500 Porsche actually runs and drives. It seems to run pretty well. There's some weird noises happening, but it doesn't stop. It really doesn't stop. For some reason, I've got a brake pedal. I can get a hard brake pedal when it's stationary, but as soon as I turn it on and the servo builds up pressure, it goes hard for a second and then goes straight to the floor. And it's pretty dangerous, to be honest. I'm probably not going to drive it again. I'm sorry I didn't get any footage from the car actually outside driving. I've ordered a new second camera, which is basically my phone. My phone just has given up doing time lapses and stuff. It's awful. I ordered a new one. Hopefully if it arrives soon enough, I will try and get some footage of it driving about. But at the moment it's pretty dangerous with it not stopping. I need to get the car down to the workshop so we can get a good look at why this thing isn't stopping. Because in theory it feels like there's a brake fluid leak somewhere, but the fluid hasn't gone down at all, and I've pushed the brake pedal loads of times, but it just goes straight to the floor when the engine's running. Maybe I need to bleed the brakes with the engine running, but we also need to sort out loads of other little issues. The brake lines are they're not good. The soft lines have gone, a lot of the hard lines need replacing, so it could just be something to do with that. It could be leaking somewhere that I can't see, but yeah, it needs a lot of brake work. I'm a bit skeptical of some of the work that's been done to the brakes, because some of them haven't got any rubbers in them, so that I haven't only really looked at the one, so I might as well just strip them all apart, rebuild them all, so I know where we're working from. But I want to get this thing running and driving, probably have a look at these wings, if we can do something to make it look a little bit better, and I'm probably just going to sell this on as a project for someone else. Hopefully I'll make a little bit of money out of it, but this is what I love doing, saving things that haven't run for ages. So yeah, if you like this sort of stuff, please subscribe, and if you want to see this thing properly driving about and stopping, and not restored but basically roadworthy car, subscribe. I'll see you guys soon.